Chapter 5, Part 4 of French for Reading. We're going to look at another relative pronoun. Previously we saw que, Q-U-E, as a relative pronoun. Now we're going to look at qui, Q-U-I, as a relative pronoun. So like que, qui joins two statements, but becomes the subject of one of them. It's the subject version of que. Whereas que replaces a direct object, qui is going to replace a subject. And so it's often translated by that, which, or who. Probably the most common is who, so I would, on your flashcard, you could put that, which, or who, but underline the word who, because that'll be the most common translation. For example, il y a des amis qui sont fidèles. So here we have the impersonal phrase il y a. There are some friends. That's the indefinite article, the plural, meaning some. Il y a some friends who are faithful. Fidèle is faithful. There are some friends who are faithful. Here we have il y a des cours. So cours is one of the meanings of cours is a class or a course, like a French translation course. There are some courses qui sont trop longs, which are too long. So we're going to translate. Now you could say there are some courses who are too long, but that wouldn't sound good in English. We would use which instead. But we use qui because it's the subject of the phrase are too long. So there are some courses which are too long. We could use that. There are some courses that are too long, which would work also, but who wouldn't work very well. Now, note, and so NB means notez bien, note well, note indeed, that qui never contracts. So if you see QU apostrophe, you know that it's always que. It's not going to be qui. Qui never gets short. If you see QU, it's going to be QUE. Now, when will qui and que confuse you? In spoken French, they'll confuse you all the time if you're speaking French. But you don't have to do that for this course. You just have to figure out the written French. But it can be confusing when the order of the words is not subject, verb, plus direct object. That's the normal order in French, subject, verb, plus direct object. But we can get a little artistic in French. We can get poetic. We can get literary. Since qui is always the subject and que is the direct object, there's no need to follow the above word order. So we know that the word that comes before que is going to be the direct object, and the word that comes before qui is going to be the subject. So, le livre qu'explique notre théorie est bien connu. Okay, so we're talking about some book that is explained by some literary theory here. And so we have the sentence, the book that explains our theory. That's what it looks like literally, except if it was the book that explains, that would mean the book is the subject of that, but it can't be because it's replaced by que. The que indicates that this has to be the direct object of explain. Explique is explain. And so if the book is a direct object, what follows is the subject of the verb. Notre théorie is the subject of explains. So we would translate this as the book that our theory explains. So our theory is the subject of explain is well known. So the book that our theory explains is well known. I wonder if our theory will be well known since it explains the book. Maybe not. Okay, now, in a different sentence, le livre qui explique notre théorie est bien connu. Here it's the same sentence, except we've got, instead of que, we've got qui. That means le livre is the subject of explique. So the book that explains our notre théorie, our theory, is well known. So here it's the book that's well known. Well, actually, both of them, it was the book who's well known, but here the book is what our theory explains. Here the book explains our theory. So the only difference between the two sentences is the que, which makes le livre the direct object of the verb, and the qui, which makes it the subject of the verb. All right, now let's look at past infinitives. So we can have a sentence, he claims to have proven his conclusions. So what type of a verb is this, to have proven? That is a past infinitive. We could say he claims to prove his conclusions, but that's indicating that he's doing it in the present tense. He's claiming right now to prove his conclusions. But we want to say that he claims that he's already proven his conclusion, so we use a past infinitive. He claims to have proven his conclusions. So to have proven is his, to have proven is a past infinitive. So it works the same way in French. You use the auxiliary infinitive, so to have, which would be like avoir or être, plus the past participle, proven. So manger is the infinitive, the present infinitive. Avoir mangé is the past infinitive, to have eaten. Rentrer is the present infinitive. Être rentré, where we've got the infinitive of the helping verb, the past participle of the verb that we're conjugating. Être rentré is the past infinitive of rentré, to have returned. Établir means to establish. There's an S that's dropped out of there. Avoir établi, infinitive of the helping verb, plus a past participle, to have established. So how do we use past infinitives? They're used with verbs like prétendre, which means to claim. So now, this looks like pretend, but it's generally not translated as pretend. It's generally translated as to claim. Il prétend avoir prouvé ses conclusions. So he claims to have proven his conclusions. So he claims to have proven his conclusions. Now we can also say in English, he claims that he has proven his conclusions. We can make it into a separate dependent clause. He claims that he has proven his conclusions. Now in French you can't do that. You can't repeat the same subject twice in a dependent clause. You have to use the infinitive. So we'll see the past infinitive more often in French than we do in English. But he claims to have proven his conclusions, and he claims that he's proven his conclusions mean the same thing in English, but they'll have the form with the past infinitive in French. It's also used with verbs like croire, to believe. Il croit, present tense, he believes. Avoir mangé un rat. Now this one we can't say he believes to have eaten a rat. That doesn't make any sense. Claims you can use the past infinitive, but believes in English you can't. You have to say he believes that he has eaten a rat. Affirm is another verb that can take the past infinitive. J'affirme avoir travaillé dur. I affirm to have worked hard. That's kind of iffy in English. It's a lot better. I affirm that I have worked hard is a better translation. So here's a final set of exercises for this chapter. When you've written all of these up, You might have to look up some of the words. Check on the next video to see how well you have done.